All right, good evening. I'm Karen Biko. If you haven't been with us before, we were doing Studio Tuesdays every Tuesday where we get together and we do my weird sort of goofy crafty projects and things like that. So if you want to take part, you're welcome to. If you want to just join in the chat, you certainly can. What I try to do is every week I try and give you a list of all the supplies that you need to do the project, and then you can do them. You know, my daughter just signed on here and it's like, Caitlin, you were just here. I could have given you all the stuff you needed to do it with.
Why would I do that when I could secretly take it from you without you knowing?
It was all part of the plan.
Okay. I was like, you can take some embossing powder and stuff like that. And anyway, so today we're just, because it's getting close to Christmas and things like that. So I thought we would concentrate a little bit on cards for the next couple of weeks. So I was playing around. I had an artist talking to me, and she said one of the things that she finds is the problem with an artist is that you collect all these materials to do things with, and then you never do anything with them. So I'm digging into the cupboard that I have, and it's like, what is this stuff that I have that I'm keeping that I've never used, like this block printing ink that I never use on my art. So I've been using that just to use it up. The other thing that I have tons of, and apparently my mom had tons of too, because I brought it from Victoria, is embossing powder. And when a lot of people who do scrapbooking or card making use this embossing powder, it's kind of cool. But I have lots of it. So I thought, you know what, how can I incorporate that into my work and into something that we can do here today? So, so I was creating these little cards here, and so I'm using stamps that I purchased mostly. So just be careful if you're using a stamp like this. This is a really beautiful one. It's quite big. If you're using a stamp like this, sometimes they are copyright. Yep. So this one has a copyright on it. So if I use this stamp on my artwork and they identify it, they can sue me because I'm using it. And it's a copyright stamp, okay? But if I'm just using it and making cards and giving cards away, that's okay, right? If I'm using it for my own personal scrapbook, then it's okay. So it doesn't really matter. So anyway, just keep that in mind. There's lots of different stamps. I have this one here. Yeah, it's the same. It's got a copyright on it. This one probably does have a copyright. This one doesn't, because I made it. So anyway, I did this many, many years ago. My mom and I used to make stamps out of those Staedtler erasers. They're kind of fun to carve and make stamps out of. So these ones are not copyright, they're mine. So it's all good. Anyway, I thought we would play around with that. I've done several of them. I actually did a few different cards. And then I worked back in with paint again like that. So there is a bit of drying time required here, but you might be good if you do, you know, some sort of quick ones and stuff like that. So I started off by making just like this rectangular template. And I just used it out of a piece of plastic. This is like an overhead projector thing. And I just cut a rectangle in it. And then I can lay it on my card. And then I'm using my brayer to roll the paint in there. And it's not perfect, right? It's not perfect. It comes out, you know, you can see there's little edges and stuff like that. But, you know, that's sometimes kind of, oh my goodness, they're sliding all over the place. That's kind of the beauty of doing this kind of thing where it's not perfect. And, you know, there's little edges that are showing, and that just gives it a little bit more character and things like that. The other thing I did while I was working on these is I make a lot of my own cards, and I have like pieces of paintings that I've cut up, or paintings or pieces of paper that I just add color to. And then I eventually cut them and they become my cards. So I tried some of the embossing powders on these. Now this is a stencil. And what I did is I took my embossing thing, my stamp pad, and I went, and then I used the embossing powder. So it's sort of there and sort of not. It has a little bit of texture. It's a little bit shiny, and it feels like plastic. Here's another one I did. There's that big one. And I think I moved it. So it kind of did a double image there. So hi, Barb.
Hi, Karen. Hello, everybody else.
Anyway, and then this is just another stamp that I was using and stuff like that. So these are just sort of examples of what I've done on my cards and stuff like that. And then, of course, I wanted to incorporate it into a piece of artwork. So here's a board that I've been working on. This is a solid board. And again, I used, instead of using a stamp, I used a stencil, not this one, but I used a stencil and just set the stencil on and then used the stamp to leave the ink and then did the embossing powder on top of it. And it's kind of neat because you can see right here, I've put some of that blue over it and you can see there's a texture. So sometimes it's just like a slight texture or whatever, but it's solid, like it's not coming off, you know, it's pretty good, but not overly thick, you know. So anyway, it was just me trying to use up the stuff that I have in my closet, in my cupboard, because I have so much. Anyway, so we're going to get started. And what we'll do is, first of all, we're just going to, you know, if you have a little bit of paint, we're going to just roll the base color on the cards. So if you have cardstock handy, that's good to do. I'm going to switch my view because Bill's he's sitting right next to me here. He's going to tell me how to do this. So I go down to share screen.
Share screen, advanced.
Share screen. And advanced. Sorry, he really wants me to learn how to do this on my own.
You got the other camera listed there?
Content from second camera?
Yeah.
Okay. And then go down to share.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's bigger.
Oh, I gotta make it bigger so I can see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
How do I do that? Over here, right? The
The
green one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
Oh, now we're cooking with fire.
or something like that. All right. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab one of my cards. Now I've already pre-cut these and scored them and everything like that. And I guess, Caitlin, you took some of my pre-cut and scored ones, so that's all good. And I'm going to mix my paints first. And I hope you guys have all the materials. I'm kind of out of practice for this, so I kind of just sort of did it. And I hope you guys found everything you needed. I'm just gonna
You didn't put on there that we needed stamps.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So I don't have stamps, but
Okay, but you do have some
I do have stencils.
stencils. Yeah, just like me to forget the main ingredient.
You should try our cake.
It's like, oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm just going to roll this out quite thin on this palette here. And then I have next to me a little piece of glass. And the reason why I wanted that was just to make it less thick on the brayer, sort of thin it out a little bit, because I don't want it to be so thick that it goes underneath the edges of that plastic sheet. So, and I'm just winging this. I mean, if you have a clean plastic sheet, you can be really careful about where you're putting your rectangle and make sure that it's perfectly straight. But you know what? I don't really care about that kind of thing. I'm just going to do it. So I'm just seeing, I even moved it just as I was doing this. So I just went a couple of directions. I'm going to pull it off and then, oops, you know, so it's not perfect, but it's kind of nice. It's thin, so I'm going to set it aside so it'll dry. And then I'm going to do another one because, of course, we can't just do one. We have to do several. So let me just grab a few sheets here. It's just nice to get to the point where I can actually use up some stuff. And if you need more paint, just grab more paint and
Yeah.
Ugh. So I made that one quite dark. How many can I do? A whole bunch. So part of me is like, now I also have all the stuff that I clean out of my mom's craft room. So now we really got to get some stuff done. Keep us busy forever. How many of you got done so far?
0.
What? 0.
1.
1. There you go. You're so tricky. I had no idea you were joining in my class. You're so funny.
That was the
Surprise.
intent.
What? Oh, yeah. You gonna do another one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually. There you go.
Okay, I'm going to do 2 more just to use up my paint. Actually, I'm not going to use up all my paint. I'm going to show you how I use up my paint. I kind of like it when it's not like a complete color, where it's just sort of, you've got a little bit not there, right? It just makes it look more interesting, I think. One more. Now you can see why I get so many things of one thing done, because I just like have to keep going. There. Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 done. So I could even go back into like some of these ones that I've done and do it again. This one I was doing some other stuff with, so I was kind of playing around with it a little bit. There's no reason why I can't. Do a double print on this. What I do quite often with my extra paint is I'll keep things close by me, like some book pages or something. And this is how I clean my brayer. I don't necessarily clean it right off, but if I just, take the extra paint that I'm not going to use anymore because it's done, just put it on this page, and then it's ready for my next project. Or, if it's a ripped piece of something I want to put in a piece, then it's already ready for stuff. We had this artist come, and she was showing us how to do things. Oh, she's actually, Barb, you might know her. Forgot her name, but she works with the lady you're taking the course from. I just lost her name.
Insert words here.
Barb, you're taking that course with her where you have to do 50 pieces?
Jean Peterson.
Yes, she works with Jean Peterson. And
Oh.
Jean Peterson was supposed to come and do a demo with us. And I was so excited about meeting her because I feel like she must be a kindred spirit for me.
Yes.
And anyway, so we got this other lady, and she's doing all this stuff, and she's doing exactly this, cleaning her brushes and stuff on other things that she's going to use. And at one point in the presentation, she was taping things. She had taped onto her paper, and then she was pulling the tape off and just rolling it up in a ball. And I said, I can't believe you're not keeping that tape. It's like, what? Keep all that stuff. Okay. So I'm just going to leave those ones there to sit while I show you the next step. So I'm just going to take one here. This is one that's dry. So these ones shouldn't take too long to dry. They'll dry up pretty quickly. Especially if you're not using a lot of water and you're going quite thin with your stuff. So I'm going to grab a couple of stamps here. Now this stamp pad that I have lots of different stamp pads, but the best stamp pads for this kind of thing are these foamy ones. Now this is actually a stamp pad I believe it is for the embossing ink. So it's kind of gooey, but I like these felt ones because you can really get a good coverage on your stamp when you're doing that. And then, just put your stamp down I'm gonna do a couple of these. And these, you know, would make really nice Christmas cards, right?
They
So-
would.
They would. So the other thing you needed was a piece of paper with a fold in the middle, okay? Because what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use this, this is the turquoise embossing powder that I have. And I'm just gonna pour it on here. And then I'm going to sort of snoogle it around. And that is the technical term.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't get all technical on everybody.
Yeah. Snoogle it around. Okay. And I'm just trying to make sure that it goes over all those edges that might have the embossing or the ink on it and stuff like that. So tap it a few times. And that's my 2 embossed patterns on there. Now, the other thing, and I forgot to tell you to do this, if you have a paintbrush handy, if you have little areas here where like you can see, I'm just trying to get to my, there,
It's
you
that
can
thing about
see
you.
there's this little bit here that I don't want. I can just take that off. Because sometimes it'll just stick to the paper and sometimes it makes your paper kind of messy. So you just take off what you don't want. And then I'm going to use this is my heat gun. Okay, this is like a crafting heat gun. Now, if you don't have one of these, a light bulb, an old light bulb, like a light bulb that incandescent, thank you, Bill. One that heats up can work also. This works really well. This is a crafting thing, so this is kind of a nice little tool to have. But anyway, I'm going to go underneath because I don't want to blow this stuff around. Oh, you know what? I should probably plug it in.
It works better.
It works better if you plug it in. Oh my goodness. You know, I was thinking of that earlier too, and I forgot. There. Okay. So you can work from the bottom. And if I do it on the bottom, you'll see how it starts to change. So I'm heating it up. You see it starts to get really light. It's actually lighter than it actually is. Than the powder actually is. There. So now it's done. I've got my 2 emboss pieces on there. And it's kind of fun that way. Hi, Leslie. So once they're done, I mean, now they're a texture on top of there. You could go ahead and paint on top of them or add more things, which I did on these things where I went and I got a stamp and I just stamped like my circles that I do on everything on there. Now, if you're doing it with a light, with an incandescent light, and you're trying to use the heat of the light bulb, you have the bare light bulb and you just rub the paper on the light bulb and you'll see it start to change and start to set up for you. But, you know, even as simple as this is, I mean, that's not a bad card just as it is, right? You know, if you're just sending a little thank you card, a little Christmas card, yes, it's got little bits here, but that's okay. I mean, you could draw into this again, or you could, again, add more paint to it or write something on it. But anyway, there's one. Are any of these getting dry? Mine are still tacky. But it might also be because I'm using that ink, which is maybe a bit stickier than regular. Elizabeth, is yours drying quickly?
Yeah, not bad,
Okay.
but yeah, they're looking pretty experimental.
That's okay.
Well, no, not really. I'm having trouble with the brayer in my paint, like getting under the stencil.
Yeah,
Like
mine.
filling up the square without, ugh,
Yeah, you just try and
I'm
you try-
struggling.
Yeah, you have to try and make sure that the brayer is pretty dry, like not super saturated with paint. That's why I was running between the my little paint holder and this piece of glass just to sort of bring it down. Now, once you've done one of these, that's why you need the little fold in your paper, because then you can take your paper, because you don't want to waste all this stuff, and you just put it back in there.
Got a question. So
Okay.
you're using ink. Is Elizabeth using acrylic paint?
Acrylic
What are
paint.
the differences?
Well, I think
Okay.
I'm just using the ink because I had it.
Oh, yeah. I'm using acrylic paint, so maybe
Yeah.
that does make a difference.
Well, the acrylic paint might creep underneath the thing a little bit more, but
Yeah, I need something to blame it on.
okay. But if you were using like which kind of acrylic paint are you using? Are you using a heavy body or?
Just, yeah, the regular body in the tube, not heavy body,
tube?
but you know, the in
Well, that's-
between stuff.
Yeah, okay.
But
So
I mixed in some of this, well, it's a blending medium. It's actually slow drying, which isn't what I want, but it thins it out, you know?
okay, all right. So the reason I'm just using the ink because it was handy, but I'm finding that it certainly doesn't dry as fast as the regular stuff, because this is still tacky. If I was to put this stuff on it, the embossing powder, it's going to stick to everything there, and then I wouldn't get it, you know, necessarily a spot.
Oh, yeah, right.
It's got to be. So for me, for these ones, the acrylic is going to be better for you guys because you're trying to do it all at once.
Yeah,
And for me, these I can wait later because I did these ones ahead of time. So well, let's try something else. Let's try one of these stamps I made. We'll see what it does. No, I'm still going to use the blue, I think. Caitlin, did you get embossing powder from me too?
No,
You didn't?
no, I should have.
Yeah, like I said, I had lots. You should have grabbed some.
I didn't know that beforehand. This was a covert operation that I was basically running by myself because nobody knew what I was talking about.
Hey,
You sent me the same message 3 times.
you're a slow reader.
Spencer? No, that's Bill.
So the only yeah,
So the stuff that you put through the stencil is some kind of fixative, like
Yeah.
gluey.
yeah. Well, the stuff that I'm using is a gluey one, but you should be able to do it with just regular stamp pad ink.
Oh,
And like I say, the stamp pad ink that I like to use is the foam sort of stamp pads. Bill, can you grab my
yeah.
it's like a big yellow toolkit over there?
Okay.
Because I have all kinds of rubber stamps and stamp
yeah.
pad ink, but they tend to be small, but could
Yeah,
work.
but you can even use those little ones and just dab it all over the stamp pad too. So this
Yeah.
is, you don't need to, you can just set it right down. Because like I've got,
And then you dust on your powder and then you blow dry your powder.
yeah. So like here's another one. This is probably a real cheap one here. But this is,
That's cool.
it's got 2 colors in it.
See, they'll
And
come up.
that's okay. Just don't worry about it. I'm gonna grab one of these. And I'm gonna try this with, well, let's do this one. Of course, they have to be, I mean, my stamp pads are so old, some of them probably don't even work anymore. So I'm doing the same thing with this with the color, okay? And then I'm gonna put it right in the middle. And I can barely see the color, like the color isn't even showing up, but you can see the imprint of where that is. And then if I do, no, I have to use the blue again because I haven't put it away yet.
Sorry. Physical dries, then stay tuned.
So, I mean, it's just going to cover over whatever color you use, unless you're using a clear one. Like this is an embossing powder and it's transparent.
And those are those things you can acquire at local stores?
At
The
local
embossing-
craft stores, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
In
Carefully avoiding names.
yeah.
Yeah.
In one that's really close to me, it's right at in aisle 1.
Okay.
For a while.
It was.
Thanks for that tip.
So we do initials?
No, no initials.
Big M. So, okay, I'm going to do one more thing here. I mean, and these embossing powders, they come in all different colors and you know, like transparent, and then there's sparkle ones and stuff like that. So if you're doing, I think I did one time I was doing Christmas cards and I just did like a little few dots of a sparkly one. It was kind of nice. Let's try this one.
I'm sorry.
Just gonna see what other kind of stamps I have here. You know, one of my favorite stamps was this. This is close to my heart stamps. I think I had a friend who sold these or would have parties and stuff like that. So I'd go and get them, but I really just like the shapes and stuff like that they have. And they're so neat because they're gooey, right? And you peel them off, put them on your little acrylic thingamadoober. You can see I've used this one quite a bit. Take your marks or your stamp pad. And then I'm just going to use this. Oh, it's black with a little bit of blue speck in it. Oh, because I got some of my blue in there. And then just get my little guy here and
You know, that is just the coolest stuff. I've done printing related things where we embossed type, but it never really occurred to me how it was done.
yeah,
Or that you could get the materials as a crafting thing.
yeah,
That's just
yeah. It's kind of fun, right? So, you know, and it's kind of
So-
shiny, right?
That's beautiful.
So
Yeah.
again, just that could be like a really simple card, like
Yeah.
"Hey, Merry Christmas," you know.
And then you could even hand write a very simple little message just along the edge of the painted bit, just below it. You
Or,
know,
or
it
even
just,
all the way around, you could do like a little verse or something. Wouldn't that be cool?
yes, little frame.
So, I mean,
Cool.
I just thought, you know, I'm just using the 3 embossing powders that I have here. I have so many. And then I brought a bunch of my mom's and so I just noticed this one wasn't completely done. The only thing that you do have to be careful about, and I noticed it on one of them. Which one was it? One that I was doing earlier. Oh, I think it was probably one of these. I was doing it, and as I think the paint started to bubble a little because it's right. It's acrylic, and you're adding heat to it, so it's going to heat up, and sometimes it'll bubble a little bit, but that's okay. It just does something different. All right. I'm going to put this black away. Now I gotta try and find one of my stamps.
These ones? Any of those?
Okay, Bill just found a whole bunch of my eraser stamps.
Well, they fell out and I made a big mess.
These are my eraser stamps.
Oh,
I mean, I got so funny, like, I'd carve it, and then I would put the pattern on the piece of block of wood and then put the eraser underneath. So these are things that I carved. A little bird.
So what do you mean? Oh, I know what you mean by eraser stamps now. I was thinking the end of a pencil. You're talking about a big eraser that you've gone into.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, they're really easy to carve, right? And Mom and I would do them for so much, but they're quite small. Most of mine are quite small.
Yeah.
How about some big ones? Don't they have big ones? I think they do. I don't even know what some of these are. They're so weird looking. And they're so old. I've had them for so long. Hang on just a minute. I'm just gonna get these out. So many of them. All right, let's try something else. So
okay, I'm gonna go and cook this over the light bulb on the other side of the room.
okay.
That's what we just did, except we used a candle.
Oh,
Fires-
So look,
you used a candle,
yeah,
so it kind of burned.
no, it's fine.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, if you don't put it too close.
Okay. Well,
That's creative. Hi, Caitlin. Hello.
yeah, right. I guess, you do what you use what you got. Gee, Caitlin, if I'd known that you were going to be doing this kind of stuff, I would have brought Grandma's heat gun for you.
That's so funny. Yeah, well, because I knew what the heat gun was, but I was like, oh, she said an old light bulb. And I was explaining to Sydney that I didn't know if you meant like, oh, just a regular light bulb, or if you meant like an actual old light bulb. And I was like, I'm hoping it's just a regular light bulb.
Yeah. Well,
That's okay. It worked out.
anyway, so now I'm just working on a board here. This is a piece of MDF that I had started just cleaning brushes on and stuff like that. So I just put my start.
I love your little stars. They're so much fun.
Yeah, see, now those are not copyright because they're mine. So I can go ahead and do those.
The art stand functions.
Maybe you can stamp it or here, stamp it here, just because it's not powder. We can put that. We can stamp it on here. So what we're gonna do is fold this paper. Open.
There. So now I've got those on there and they're like a little texture. And as I start to, I'm going to be putting layers and layers of paint on this. So you'll probably see the stars through some of the paint. And hello, Jackie. And yeah, so I'll just keep working on this as a little aside. How are these things doing? They're still a bit sticky. I mean,
So did you use a different type of ink other than acrylic paint with some of those? Like which is which?
oh, actually they're all these, I was just trying to use up these inks. So somebody gave me these old block printing inks. So I use them on these,
Oh,
but these I let dry before I started working on them. Like I did a whole bunch the other day so that I could show you guys.
Yeah.
So that I wasn't, mucking around with wet stuff while I was trying to show you things.
so Elizabeth, is your acrylic drying finally?
Oh
Enough
yeah,
to do-
it dried really quickly.
Yeah, acrylic will
Okay.
dry faster than what I've got going on here. So I just took some
Okay.
of the granules of that stuff and I just sprinkled it on the bottom. Just there.
And the pattern that you've sort of created there is just from your brayer.
Yeah. So this is the
Yeah, I like that.
embossing right here. I mean, it's not anything special, but yeah, because my ink is a little bit, I suppose I could use this, and just doing that dried the ink pretty well using the little heat thing. So I could take my
Okay.
gonna start chewing on my bags down here.
You did.
Rotten boy. Right. Boy, some of these are just so funny. Weird little. Some of these I used on my wedding invitations.
Oh,
That's a while ago. I tell you, I don't throw anything out.
I tell you.
I have so many of them. I even, and I missed out on this. I had a pumpkin. Should I use my pumpkin?
Oh, there you go. So is the piece that's the vine, is that something that you've created yourself or is that something you bought?
No, that's mine. Where is
That's
it?
very cool. And
Yeah.
what did you create the stencil on or in? Is it like a rubber stamp? Oh, look at that.
It's a piece of eraser.
Oh,
So I would have cut the eraser and then I would have carved it to the eraser. And
I
then,
love that.
yeah, the vines are really like, I use that on my wedding invitations too.
Yeah, and you just repeat your vine.
Yeah, I just, do a trail, right?
Yep,
So,
got it.
and then like a nice
Cool.
block, but look, I have room for like, 4 more stamps on here.
Yeah,
If I had the inclination
wasted
to do that.
space.
I know, like, some of these have
So the
only
one is the one with swirls also one that you carve?
this one here, it's a snail.
It's a really, no, it's a big block. I can't tell what I'm looking at. Off to the left of your, to your left. Where near your red, your two-tone red stamp pad, you've got
This one here,
something that's got swirl.
this one.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
a copyright one. So this is a stamp pad that I
Ah.
purchased. It's from Stamp It
Got
Up and it says copyright on it. So I can't use it on my artwork. I can use it when I'm making cards and giving cards away. But if I'm selling it,
Yeah,
it's illegal for me
Yep.
to do.
got it. Got it.
Like
I was
they
just kind of
really
curious.
yeah, like I don't know if they would even recognize by the time I get through with a painting, and if I put this on a paint. Hi, Jack.
Yeah.
My cat just came to see me. If I put this on a painting, and by the way I paint and stuff like that, it's like,
Hidden.
Pretty
yes,
obscured.
you can see, yeah. And it sort of gets to that, if it's like 90% changed or a certain percentage changed, what are you doing? He says, I want to do this too. It sounds like fun. Anyway, so if you've taken something that is copyright and you've changed it a significant amount, then I think it's okay. So Jack, I know, I love it when you come visit me, but you need to go away.
I'll go feed young.
He just wants food.
And attention, so he has food.
Yes, attention until he has food. So yeah, this one seems to be the almost like the biggest stamp I have is the vine.
Well, I know I'm gonna be looking for an eraser around here to start fiddling with my own.
Yeah, the
Who
stat
knew?
erasers are the best.
Yeah, I know you used to be able to get stuff it's like that eraser material kind of, but you use it for lino cuts
Yes,
or lino prints.
it's a pink material. It's like an eraser. They sell it at Big M. Down with all the fine art stuff. And I'm not sure how much it is. Like this Staedtler eraser. Well, when my mom bought it, it was $2.59. I don't know how much they are now, but I do know that later on, Staedtler started to emboss. Yeah. Staedtler started
Oh, right.
to emboss their pattern on their erasers. So these are pretty old. I brought these back from my mom's place. They're big, right? They're bigger than
Yeah.
normal. Like this is a
I
normal
remember
big.
those.
eraser,
I
right?
remember those from university when they were the big ones. I loved those.
Yeah. So I have like I have 3 of those, but again, even as I look at this Staedtler one, it's embossed on the backs on the ones only on the one side. So anyway, but yeah, so you can do that. The other thing that I use for carving, and I should put some embossing powder on this. The only other thing I have that I use for carving is I use baseboard sometimes instead of lino. Now, I don't know if that would work better.
Explain what you
Right,
mean.
like coving, like a hard rubber.
Yeah,
Industrial.
yeah, I'm in the process of trying to help the Nexon building clear out a storage room in their basement, in their parkade. They have boxes of it.
Oh,
And so I have quite a bit. So if you guys want to give it a try, you're certainly welcome to get some from me if you're close by. But you need to have the right carving tools to do it. I'm going to go grab, after I do this, I'm going to go grab a couple of my carved pieces. Barb's seen these. She's actually seen me carve them because I took them to retreat quite often and do them and use them and stuff like that. So let me just go over there.
so I have a question.
Yep.
We're not taking.
What is this stuff supposed to get like after you heat it? Because mine doesn't really seem any different now than before I heated it. And I'm wondering if I didn't get it hot enough or.
You might not have gotten it. It should be like a plastic. Like it should be shiny and kind of plasticky.
Oh, no, mine
And-
isn't like, but
and-
my embossing powder is just like glitter.
But it should, like, it doesn't wipe off after you do it. Is it wiping off?
Okay.
And it should be raised, that
Yeah,
embossed should.
yeah, it should be a bit higher than what you've got.
Yeah, but it's like if I touch it, it just like comes away.
Okay, yeah, you're not heating it enough.
Okay, I'll try cooking it some more at the end after.
Okay, so this is.
Maybe try a candle.
I don't want to set it on fire.
Yeah, that's a real sensitive touch there. Okay, so these are carved baseboards.
Oh,
So this is the baseboard. This is like a rubber cove baseboard. So you can go in
Wow.
any store and get them, right? Like you rip them off their walls.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have rolls of this stuff. So I was playing with it because I find that lino is quite hard to cut for me. And this is not as easy as the erasers, but it's quite nice to cut.
Is that flat or beveled? Because the stuff that I've seen is beveled.
It does come with a bevel on it, but I just cut the bevel off.
Cut it off.
Yeah.
And on the back is ribbed a little bit.
Yeah, it looks ribbed because they would need that
Yeah.
for the glue, right? So these
Yep.
ones are quite,
Right.
yeah.
Got it.
I mean, they're not the best stamps ever, but I think what I need to do is I need to attach them to something flatter to keep them nice and flat when I get to use them.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
sometimes,
and they're nice and big.
yeah, and I mean, I like to use them with my paintings, but I've struggled with them a little bit just because they don't hold the paint as well as I want them to. But let's try and see what happens when I put a stamp on it. I have this piece I'm working on, and I just thought I'd try something on that. So I'm just gonna put the stamp ink all over this thing, or over part of it anyway. And then I'm going to set it on here. And hopefully it'll come out. Maybe I need to use my brayer. I just moved it. I don't think it came out on there. I don't see any of that ink coming off. I think it's staying. Yeah, I don't think I got any ink off of that. So maybe it has to go on paper. So let's try this. Well, the other thing that sometimes works is putting a piece of something cushy underneath. Okay, that might have worked. You can see there's a little bit of the red from the stamp. So that turned out pretty good. I don't mind that. I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to brush this stuff off because I don't want it here. But I don't mind some of this here because it just sort of looks like it trails off.
So that heat gun is silent.
Is what?
It's silent. You just,
It's it's making noise. It's just very low.
okay.
It's not like a hair dryer sound. It's a low sound. All right. So there it is. And you can see, like Elizabeth, you can see that that's a little bit shiny
yeah.
where the embossing is.
Yeah, it's just, I just think my embossing powder is completely different than what you're using.
Really? Well, you might have to come over and visit me and we'll play with it and see what happens. Okay, what time is it? Okay, I'm gonna talk about next week. What we're gonna do next week. Guess what? We're gonna make more cards.
Yay.
So just because it's close to Christmas, I thought, we should do, a bunch of our card making. So what I wanted to do next week is I want to bring back one of our projects that we did previously, but we're changing it a little bit. So previously we did those radial designs. I don't know if you remember them, where we did a big design on a circle and then we colored it all and then I got you to chop it in 4.
Oh, yeah, vaguely.
Okay, so anyway, I was playing with that and what I did is I made a whole bunch of little ones, colored them, and this is what I did is I turned them around and made
Oh, right.
and remember, I think when we were doing that session, I said, oh, they make really nice little Christmas decoration sort of things. So I did a whole bunch of them. And I would sit at work on my lunch hours and color. And I really had a lot of fun just sort of coloring them. And then I just put them together on these cards. And they may not be done. I may be adding some more things to them. So here's what I did. And I'm going to show you real quick so that you can be prepared for next week. Next week, we might just be sitting here doodling and coloring at the same time. So I got my sketchbook and this is what I've done is I created a page of circles. And so I went in and I made multiple circles, did some lines, did some radial lines so that I could do some patterns and stuff like that. And I created these patterns and I've drawn them as carefully as I can in ink. And what I'm going to do with this now is I'm going to scan it and print it. That way I can print many pages of these and then I can cut them out and color them in different colors. And I don't have to keep recreating them all the time, especially if I'm going to be doing them as my Christmas cards this year. Then I could just do, like I could do this one, 10 times and color it 10 different ways, right? And then once I cut it and make it into those cards, they're all different. So anyway, if you guys wanted to start something like that, I mean, next week I'll be doodling on them and then probably doing some coloring and rendering and then cutting. And so I'll have lots of different things, but to show everybody how to do it. But because you've already done, some of you have already done this project, this is, if you wanted to start with that. I think I used about a 2.5 inch circle and I'm using like a circle template.
Okay.
Which is really great because mine's a little bit bigger than this one, but it has lines so that you can do many different circles and make them smaller so that you can create sort of mandala sort of things. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. I'll have the supply list out, which is really just cards and doodles and pencil crayons, and we'll color. How's that sound? Okay, I'm going to switch the screen and I'm going to share the screen for anyone who wants to show anything that they've done today. I just got to find the mouse again.
Oh no, it's got a stamp on it.
I know, really. Stop share
Stop share
right here,
at the top.
right there.
Yeah.
Oh, stop share. Oh, there we go. All right. Anybody want to show?
I can show.
Yeah, you show us what you did.
Okay, I did this one. I used one of my stencils.
Oh, that's nice.
And I used a white embossing powder down here because I only bought 3 colors.
Yep.
I didn't have any. And so, and it didn't show up very well. So I just went in with some paint and I kind of went around.
Yeah.
But so there's that.
Okay.
And then I went through my stencils and I really didn't have anything that I had made that was small enough. So I just took my like clear ink and I dipped a liner brush in it and I painted. So I just painted some little designs on there.
That's nice
and then
too.
get them
Yeah.
black,
Like you
know,
can do
it's-
anything with these.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they can't compare to yours, but I'm just trying it out.
We were just, that's what this is all about, is experimenting and using what you
Yeah.
have and seeing what you can, and getting ideas from everybody, right? And seeing what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
Now, Caitlin, I know you were doing some. Let me see what you did. Oh, come on, just share.
Okay.
Elias, did you do one too?
Oh, yeah, I did.
I did that one. I don't know. It's hard to tell, but it's like
Yeah.
a copper embossing powder.
Oh, it looks nice though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay.
just like little ornaments.
Yeah, mine is just like a solid blue with like silver. There's a Merry Christmas on there.
Oh,
And like,
nice.
some snowflakes and such.
That's good. That's good for Christmas. Now, Barb, were you working on this or are you doing something else?
Well, I didn't have any embossing materials, but I really wanted to do tonight, and I just got a jelly pad, so I was playing with that.
Okay. Well, and I, oh, that's nice. Yeah, the jelly pads are so much fun.
I did both sides so that I could maybe make one of those little booklets that you make,
Yeah, we'll have to try the bookbinding, see if we can do that over the internet. That'd be fun. All right. Okay, well, that's great. I know Brenda you were tracing. How'd your tracing go? Did you get it all done?
Where'd she go?
Oh, she's muted, but
Oh, yeah, you have to unmute and then talk so that your screen
Well, I
gets big.
wasn't, oh, sorry there. That's why I wasn't gonna talk. Yes, I got my tracing done and I
Okay.
finished sewing up my pillow that I made.
Ooh, beautiful.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry I didn't paint or emboss or
okay.
anything, but
That's all
it's
right.
fun to listen in.
Well, it's nice to see what you're doing too, right? Because it's all creativity and it doesn't really matter what form it comes in, right? We all share. Leslie, were you doing anything or did you have stuff that you were working on?
No, just sitting in tonight.
Okay, well, thanks for coming, you guys. And I
I
missed
have to
you
go get
guys
some
so much.
embossing powder.
Yeah,
Need to go shopping.
shopping. I know. It's like, it's so hard. I just want to go there and shop now. It's like, but I don't want to. I can't. I got to use some of this stuff. So anyway, so that's great.
Yeah.
So next week, yeah, we'll be doing those radial design cards. And we'll see where that takes us, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, well, thanks for chiming in, and I will see you guys next week.
All right. See you. Thank you,
Bye,
Karen.
everyone.
Thank you,
Take care.
Karen.
All right, bye-bye.
I'll
Bye.
send hello to-